Okay, hello everyone, Random Gamer Riven here in tonight's randomised gaming stream. And as always, I am going to be your host for this randomised gaming stream, Random Gamer Riven. So I had a couple of requests this week for Mega Drive games, and seeing as I had no idea what to pick, I thought, yeah, I'll do all the requests then. So this is Shining in the Darkness. An absolutely fantastic game, and I am a huge fan of the Shining series as it's become. Shining in the Darkness is actually the first game Camelot or Sonic Software Co-Planning developed. Apparently it was partly developed, I think they were literally set up sort of towards near the end of this, but basically Climax did this and Shining Force, and the key developers from Climax was the Takahashi brothers. Basically they ended up leaving Climax and becoming part of Sonic Software Planning that would later end up becoming Camelot Software Planning. And these days are currently slaves to Nintendo, sadly, and not making good up. They haven't made an RPG in so long, which is a huge shame, as they are a fantastic RPG franchise. So Shining in the Darkness is a solid start to the Shining series. It's not the best outing in terms of quality. The later ones, the Saturn games, are by far the best. Shining in the Darkness didn't really get a direct sequel to Shining in the Holy Ark, which is a Sega Saturn dungeon crawler, but it's just so much betterly done than Shining in the Darkness. Shining in the Holy Ark is a phenomenal game. It's probably one of the best dungeon crawling RPGs ever made, or first person style dungeon. It's just so much. You can go to villages, towns, the whole you explore the whole island of Enrich, and it is a fantastic game. This Shining in the Darkness much more linear. We have the castle, we have Thornwood, which is the only town, and then finally we have the actual labyrinth itself, whereas Shining in the Holy Ark has lots of different dungeons scattered all over the place, and each of them is very different. Although the labyrinth's massive, it does variate. Interestingly, chronologically wise, the Shining series, well, the Camelot games all take place in the same world and take place over the course of thousands of years. So the Camelot games all have a chronology. After the Camelot games, the entire series falls into a deep black hole, and I don't regard any game not made by Camelot as a Shining game, because they're just all terrible. Even the most recent one, I did play, was it Shining? Oh, it's on the PS4 and I was playing, and it's subpar anime trash is what I'd describe it. Basically one of those cheap sort of cheerfully games. Any game not made by Camelot on the Shining series, just awful. There are often the people said, oh, this one, Shining Force Feather was quite good, or Shining, is it Shining Feather? I really hate the fact some of them often stuck Shining Force in when rather than calling. Basically each of the games of the series was designed to be named. So the Force games is meant to demonstrate that it was a tactical RPG, but some of the American ones they added in, like Shining Force Neo, which weren't tactical RPGs, but they still stuck in Force just to try to tie it in with the Shining Force brand, even though it's part of the Shining series. And the Shining Force's direct thing within is the tactical side of the series, which was a huge blunder by whoever handled that in marketing and naming, and if I ever met them, I deserve a stern talking to. Alija, this is what I'm supposed to. So I've actually skipped the opening introduction, setting up the name and everything. Basically get the old sort of man characters. Interesting, all the Shining games in the Camelot era have this, where there's an introductory character who's like a storyteller, who gives you a brief history of what's going on in the world, and then you enter the world itself. So I am... Basically, you're actually a nameless hero in this one, so this is the only Shining game your character isn't named. Now, some of the text calls him Hiro, apparently. Recently they discovered the problem is Hiro is H-I-R-O, and I know the Japanese can often spell English words wrong, and my suspicion is it's not actually Hiro, it's supposed to be Hiro, as in it's just nameless hero, with basically the default name for him. Mordred's son, and one of my finest knights. So basically you play Mordred's son, and your father has gone missing in the prince along with the princess. Hiro, isn't it? A fine name it is, a fine name indeed. But for the purposes of this video, I'm going to call him Hiro, because even if that may well be Hiro, just misspelt. I know Hiro is a Japanese name. I have a suspicion they may have got E's and I's muddled up. Search for the princess. It was your idea, wasn't it, Hiro? Yes, Majesty. As you know, Hiro's father was with the princess. missing along with her. Hiro feels that finding the princess will lead him to his father. Thus he came to me and offered his services. So there's a lovely little map in this, which I do love, the world of Thor. I think that does it's supposed to say Thornwood, but I can only read the word Thorn on it, or Thor. So at the minute we can't actually go into the labyrinth itself. So you've got the castle, the labyrinth. All the Shining games do tend to have sort of maps or sort of locations, and everything is tied in chronologically. So Shining in the Darkness is actually quite interesting chronologically. Chronologically, why it takes place after Shining Wisdom, which was the first game on the Sega Saturn. It's actually technically unrelated to any of the other games. They did a tie-in in Shining Force Gaiden, in that they imply, I think it's, so they misspell the villain Dark Soul, but actually he was supposed to be Mephisto. Now this is interesting because I can't quite work out if he's supposed to be the third and final Devil King that resides in the Shining Force world, but more directly, and this is using the Shining Force Gaiden final conflict storyline, it's implied to be the child of the original Dark Soul from Shining Force, and is it Mirinda or Melisandre? Messendra, I can't quite think of her name. It begins with M, and basically she's like this. She's the one Max is chasing down from the original Shining Force. You actually see her in Shining Force Gaiden, the final conflict. And yes, Max does. Well, yes, you see in the ending he survives the original Shining Force. But basically, he's applicable in the third Game Gear title, which I've actually got, and I would love to actually do in a stream night, but unfortunately we don't have any way to stream the Game Gear unless I literally had a high-def camera sat over the Game Gear. So this is the town, the very colourful town. Also, this one's quite interesting in the fact that it actually ties into Golden Axe in a weird way. In fact, I'll show that in a bit. It's got the background music, which is really nice, of the village. It's quite quiet as well. So just go to the shrine. Actually, I should just go in and save, just to be on the safe side. The opening section in Shining the Dark is, I haven't, to my shame, I've not yet finished this, despite being a huge fan of the series. It's one of those games I need to sit down and actually finish. So we've got the Alchemist, that's Alchemist, Alchemist, that's actually spelt wrong, Alchemist Armory, we have the tavern, and we have the Traveller, we've got weapons, the tent there is actually boarded up, that is accessible later, so let's enter the tavern. Hey Hiro, sorry to hear about your father. The princess should have been safe with your father protecting her. In fact, there's some who blame him for what happened. Lee, there's a lot of strangers around in search of the princess. I assume you're looking for her too. Well, the best of luck to you. I really love the tavern in this. There's a whole creative cast of characters in this. So Mrs. Vic. Sorry to hear about your father. I hope he's alright. There's some who speak ill of your father, but don't let it bother you. Just keep in mind that we're behind you all the way. Ring the bell on the counter. loophole. So you're the son of Mordred the Brave. You're kind of young to be hunting for the princess, aren't you? Gatso is son of Mordred. My eyes don't make me laugh. What you looking at? Come here, I'll show you who's the boss around here. Don't mind him, I've never heard a pleasant word pass his lips. Something like an American accent. So this is Tak. Interestingly, Tak actually is a very similar name to Turk from Shining Force 3, and I'm wondering if they're supposed to be related. I think he's a gnome. Yes, we've already had implied this guy's drunk. About the creature. It was ugly. I saw it the other night on the hill outside the village. Unfortunately, Gorn was not seeing things. We got Dial. I'm a law knight and servant of Baron Byron. Not been himself lately. We've got Edward and we've got Dial. There's actually quite a few travellers now. There are other characters in this. Unfortunately, the opening section of the game we actually have to do solo, which actually means the opening section is rather hard, to put it mildly. In fact, I may not even get out of the opening section because it takes so long. I do love the smoking pipe guy, it's a quite... Now this is another thing, there isn't a decent equipped menu in this one. Go back to here, just check. So I think if I go... No, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to bring up the menu and check my equipment. The interface in this one is not... So I've got woven robes and I've got a bronze knife, so let's nip into the armory. See the Maju and the main gauge, they're way too expensive for me. Okay, so this is the interesting one. You'll notice in the left corner is the picture of the dwarf from Golden, it's the gnome from Golden Axe. And in the centre here is the shopkeeper, and he looks suspiciously like Gilius Thunderhammer from Golden Axe. That's because it is Gilius Thunder from Golden Axe, and effectively this cameo from Gilius Thunderhammer ties in the Golden Axe series with the Shining Force series and means they take place in the same world. So there's a little tidbit for there. So there's actually something that actually has to be accommodated in some of the later Shining games. They actually take place in the same world. Unless they undo this cameo, they are in the same world. So I will buy a short sword. Great comedy poses there with the artwork, it's fantastic. Oh, well actually, I will sell my thing in a minute, I'm just going to quit that. That's one of the things I can... I didn't mean to do that. You can't actually access any of the menus. So the interface in this one, there are a few things, because this is the first game in the series, that mean this one is a few odd quirks. So we see that raise, so I'm going to take the short sword and put a better weapon from the get-go. Yeah, I'll keep the armour. I suppose you've got a choice of finishing enemy quickers or making spells, status, so we can go status. So there's Hiro's picture, he only ever has that look. Well, ultimately you actually do get artwork of the character in the Japanese manual, so I am a bit of a fan, so I do have both the PAL versions of all 3 Mega Drive games and I have the Japanese versions. In fact, I have the Japanese version of every game up to the GBA ones. I have Shining Force CD, I have the 3 Game Gear ones, I have the 3 Saturn ones. No, 3 Saturn, I should say. I have all 3 games on the Saturn. That includes all 4 parts of Shining Force 3, so that's how much of a proper Shining collector I am. Sell the bronze mine. What to do? Yes. Nope. So you actually have to make a choice at the start. You don't get much gold, so I don't think I can buy better armor at the minute. I'm just going to have to buy some health stuff because you don't get many. Buy an angel feather. Although I believe they have a slightly different name in the later games. I can't quite think off the top of my head. There's something wing, I think. I'll buy another. So I've got decoys. Decoys. So basically the reason you want to have a sort of, gosh, I'll just nip into the church to save again, just because if this is very unforgiving at the start, so the only way you can actually see your level ups is via the church in this one, which is an odd thing. There are a few quirky mechanics like that in this one. I think some of these are a few sort of weird mechanics from Dragon's Quest and a few other games. They gradually ironed them all out in the later Shining games. Shining the Holy Ark is a vastly more streamlined game than this in terms of mechanics, but I do like the way the effects go with that sort of 3D look. So you'll notice there the wizard's actually gone missing a bit. Around. Very nice scaling actually, scrolling as well. Scaling, I should say scrolling. So you'll notice that, as I said, the wizard is missing. There's a reason for that. We have the villain Dark Soul, or Mephisto. This is incidentally, he's Dark Soul for space, so he's implied to be a different character to the one his father is, but apparently from the Shining Force game. It's Dark Soul. Your last. Right, do business, I want you out of it. Spoken to, Byron. Still in return, Jesse back. I pray that no harm has come to either the princess or your father. Now go, show Dark Soul what it means to face a knight of the realm. Yes, we can henceforth enter the labyrinth. So yeah, apparently he's mistranslated. He was called Mephisto in the Japanese version of the villain, but it is implied he is, as I said, the son of the original Dark Soul. No, I didn't want to exit. Game does have a few quirks like that. I just turned around. I didn't press forward, but so here we go. I'm actually using 6-button joypad, so hopefully no issues with that. Okay, so I guess we get a few experience gain 1 point. So basically, at the start, you basically have to mentally map out the game because you don't have access to the map. So you need to remember everywhere you've been and everywhere you're going to be. And as you can see, this game is rather brutal. So I'm going to literally take 3 points of damage. Now you do have 2 friends. You can see you've got space for 2 other characters, Milo and Pariah. Pariah actually crops up in a few other games as well. Some of them did crop up in Climax Landers because Climax did the Climax Entertainment helped work on the first Shining Force and Shining the Darkness. There's a Dreamcast title known as Time Stalkers or Climax Landers that actually technically has characters from Landstalkers in it, and there's characters from Shining in the Darkness, Pariah appears in it, and a couple of characters from Shining Force. This is a relatively, I suppose it's early-ish MegaDrive one, it's 91. I think this way should lead me to a dead end if I'm correct. Or more specifically, it should lead me to the deeper parts of the labyrinth. I just want to get. But this is what I mean, like you have to take healing items early on because you get absolutely hit come sundry by just about everything going. Locked door there, we can't go in. Now, the gameplay window is rather small. This is very reminiscent of Phantasy Star on the Master System. I wouldn't be surprised if they were partly inspired by Phantasy Star. Okay, so things like 12 points to a level up. I should be relatively close to my first level up. I do wonder if that gives you health. Sometimes level ups restore your health, sometimes they don't. But you do fight a lot of enemies in this. And early on, this game is rather ruthless. Really worth taking that extra thing, so there's a finish reading against a special. Hiro goes up a level, hit points gained 9, IQ gained, speed points gained 2, luck points gained 2, attack points gained 3, defense points gained 1. That's not going to help touch. So that's what I mean about you. So literally hence why I took the healing items early on, because you'll need them. I think this is into another labyrinth. search that door, but that door didn't obviously. Get to now you have to be careful because I'm pretty sure if you explore badly you can gain one experience. Caught by surprise, we've got ooze attacking us again. This is definitely a game you want playing 60Hz because of the speed buff. Chest. Discovered herb. That's good. That's what we want. We do like the pseudo 3D with the way it turns, but it's all 2D. Okay, so this is where I've bitten off more I can chew. So I know those guys. And that's what I mean about exploring the labyrinth brutally. See there, I literally came a cropper against enemies I had no hope to fight against. Now, unfortunately, I have to do the opening section solo. You can't get the additional characters. Bunch of trouble, mate. Hi Nicolian Art, that's okay. You guys can, you don't have to chat away if you don't want to. Record the adventure. Actually, we've got a couple of viewers tonight, so. So basically I can't actually get Miles and Pariah until I find, in the start of the game, this is where the opening starts, so you've already seen me, they've literally brutally taken me down, the enemies. I'll just check how much coinage do I have left. Basically when you get taken to the church, I think you lose about half your gold. So I'm going to have next to nothing if I check. No. The controls are a bit irritating. You press B, you just exit out of the whole town, which is a bit irritating, instead of having to go to the exits. So items. So I got 24 gold, so I've lost. Basically, the start is purely about leveling and knowing exactly where to go, and I know roughly where I've got ahead. I've got to, in order to get the other characters, I basically have to actually defeat the first boss in the dungeon. So, but unfortunately, you saw that if you go the wrong way in the dungeon, you can rapidly get find yourself dealing with enemies that are vastly more powerful than you. As you saw, those man-eating apes took my health down in seconds, and unfortunately the start of the game really does want you to grind it out a bit. A lot of these early RPGs were very grindy to their discredit. I think because they were still sort of establishing the genre, although it certainly meant you had plenty of playtime in them, because before, basically Fantasy Star 1, 2 were like this, so basically you have to go out to the field, kill a few enemies, run straight back to town, get the XP, and just rinse and repeat till you're about level 6 or 7 before you can go absolutely anywhere in the game, because if you try to go out otherwise, you won't have enough healing items and you'll just get butchered by the enemies because they're so hard from the get-go. You can actually do Fancy Star too. Yeah, we can actually cover all the Fancy Stars. And as I said, you can choose to run from enemies, but you can't always guarantee to escape. So this opening start of the dungeon really is a bit of a slog. Well, it needs enough gold to be able to fend off. You can get random criticals, as you saw that I can get criticals on them and they can get criticals on me, so... And you can also miss as well, so there's quite a few mechanics with this, it's not always guaranteed. I'd love to do a full playthrough of all the Shining games, but they are some meaty playtime. Particularly the original Shining Forces, if you want to get all the characters up to half-decent levels, you really have to grind it out. So this is the thing, I'm going to take an absolute beating from these guys, they all get up 2 to 3 hits on me. And I've just done no damage to them, I'm going to have to heal the next round, because that's how I want. So I'm going to have to heal. Magic user, no he's not. He's a bird. Oh, too slow. I don't... Hiro. As I said, I think Hiro might just be someone incorrectly mistranslated Hero, and I think he's literally the name of this hero. Interestingly, the Shining series, all the Takahashi games, traditionally have a silent protagonist. Which is implied to be the player. Now, in the early games this kind of worked, but the concept fell apart in Shining Force 3, where you met each of the different lords, and who were all very talkative in each of the games except for their own one. So Symbius talked a lot in Scenario 2 and 3, but didn't talk in Scenario 1. And then, and it kind of, for Symbius it was not too bad, but when you got to Median it was a bit stupid the fact you'd heard him speak loads in Scenario 2, then all of a sudden he was weirdly mute. And Julian it was even worse for, so the sort of silent protagonist was one of the big mistakes they made in Shining Force 3. I think the concept had sort of run out to sea. It's the same with all the other games. Mars is quiet in Shining Wisdom. So I said Hero in this one, or whatever you want to call him, because he's technically not named. Doesn't say, barely says a word. Max basically shakes and nods his heads in Shining Force. Same with Bowie. Same with the other protagonists from the Gale games. So although I got out of that fight with a lot of successful... I have a feeling this guy has to go okay. I'm going to use a herb. I think I should buy some better armor. I have a feeling I'm near the boss. Almost at the slide. I might go back and get I probably want to get to level 3 before fighting up against the little monster, but I want to keep that 50 gold so I can use it to buy... I probably need some better armour. The first boss in this is actually a crab that they reused in Shining the Holy Ark as a little nod towards this. You know, and it crops out. Basically, when you beat it, you discover something, and it's like, oh, we need to take this back to the king. But the downside is, because he comes out of nowhere, he absolutely destroys you, the crab. Hi, Nikodimar. Thanks for joining the stream. Yeah, no worries if you just want to watch. That's all means you don't need to chat away. We've got quite a few viewers on stream tonight, so... Okay, thanks for the tip. Yeah, I put the sound up when I was doing the town section because the sound in the town section was quite quiet. But yeah, I forgot to check the dungeons are really noisy. Apologies if you couldn't hear me that much then. I totally forgot to double check it. Thanks for letting me know, Nicodinar. I think it's... I'm right, is it Nicodinar? Nicodemar. Apologies if I mispronounced that. I should get to start to know the people who come onto our streams regularly, try and get their names pronunciations correct. Apologies if I missed it. I've just been mispronouncing it for weeks on end. So yeah, I'm getting better cases. This game is very ruthless. So basically I'm going to head back to try and exit out via the gate. I'm not going to use the feather because that way I should have some extra loot along the way. And the start of this, getting lots of loot is probably the best thing to do. There is a map, but unfortunately it's not until you get Pyra. I think it was a magic spell Pyra has. Nico, okay, Nico. Or is it yes, Nico. I want to say Nico, but that's the character from Mana, so Nico. Okay, I'll just say Nico. Saves me getting it wrong every time. Yeah, the encounter rate for this is ruthless. Absolutely ruthless. It's absolutely, as you see there, literally, you can literally get attacked moving a single square. Sometimes you do get... Oh. Yeah, it is. That's probably one of the downsides of this, but it's... Ironically, you can still get gaps in it, so it's not as insane as something at Tales as Fantasia. Okay. Okay, thanks, Nico. I'll do it, Nico. Yeah, apologies if we're mispronouncing it. This is very much not, although it was like one of the first, it's very just ruthless. This is probably one of the hardest games in the Shining series because it's so merciless right at the start. Once you get into it, it's not too bad. When you start leveling up, the difficulty dies off a bit. Yep, Pyros. Time Stalkers is known as Climax Landers, and it is actually a cameo game. Basically, it includes elements from all their different games. So you have the characters from Land Stalkers, you have some of the characters from Shining Force. So, huzzah, I've actually managed to escape the dungeon intact, so I'm going to buy some armor. At least I hope we're going to buy some armor. One of the twists with this... Yeah, Pyra is the other... one of your other two characters. You get Milo and Pyra after. Annoyingly, they don't join you until after this first section, so you get told your friends are about town, and you can explore town at present, but you won't find them. Once you've done the first boss, then when you return to town, you automatically basically get them. Milo's in the church, and Pyra's in the tavern, I think. You're basically forced to get them, so... Supposedly one of the characters from Mysteria, the Realm of Law. Mysteria was done by Micro Cabin. You're not thinking of Gilius Vanderhammer's cameo in this, are you? You'll notice that this is Gilius Vanderhammer. You've got the gnome from Golden Axe in the side there. So I've got 166 gold. So technically this one ties into Golden Axe, and which is quite a nice little thing. This is the only game in the Shining series that needs ties to Golden Axe, though, I should say. I do love the fact the gnome's there as well. Mysteria was made by Micro Cabin, so... So I can buy the cotton robe. Oh, I've got the woven robe. I think I have the woven robe on, don't I? Let me just check. As I said, the actual equipment menu is not ideal. You have to press C. Equipment. I have the woven robe. The Lion in Time Stalkers. No, I think the Lion in Time Stalkers was an original game, because Time Stalkers only includes characters from Climax series. So all the characters were in games Climax worked on. Hence the Japanese title being Climax Landers. So unless they secretly worked on Mysteria, I don't... There's a lion that looks similar in Mysteria, but it's a different character in Time Stalkers. Yeah, because you got it in one there. Don't change what you equipped them to better. Yeah, it is one of those old school RPGs. So you can end up wasting gold buying items that are not as good as what you've got equipped. So I've actually... I think I'm going to buy some herbs. Yeah, that's one of my pet hates in old RPGs that don't tell you. Yeah, Climax worked on Shining in the Darkness and Shining Force. So Climax Landers has Pyra from Shining in the Darkness, and in Shining Force you get Yogurt, you get Max, and you also get Yilo. I'm a huge Shining fan buff, so I think it's Yilo. You basically get the wolf guy from the third chapters in it, who's the white wolf character. I think I can't remember if it's Yilo or Zeke. Might be. I can't quite remember his name. Apologies. Yeah, so they worked on the first... Climax only worked on Shining in the Darkness and Shining Force, and there's 3 characters I know from Shining Force appearing Time Stalkers, although I've never actually finished Time Stalkers myself, as it was one of those hit-and-miss RPGs. But I'm a huge buff of Shining Force, or the Shining Force series, so I pretty much know everything about it. As this is what I spent a lot of the 90s playing. Okay, bye. I think we're just going to buy quite a lot of herbs, because this next fight's going to be quite nasty. I think I'm going to try and find the boss this time around, so we get to the next bit of the dungeon. I don't think it even tells you when your inventory is full either, which is irritating. There's a lot of things that are very quick. Mysteria Realm of Law. if I had to give you hints about Mysteria, so Mysteria Realm of Lore was done by Microcabins and is a fantastic game. Doesn't look particularly very good. It's a very ugly looking game visually, but gameplay wise it's absolutely fantastic. It's more in depth arguably than Shining Force and Fire Emblem, because each character has specific moves and ranges per specific moves, so it's got much more strategy depth than both Fire Emblem and Shining Force by a country mile, and you can unlock different abilities. So Mysteria, the one thing I would say is quite ruthless at the start of the game, in that you have to pick which of the heroes you want to join up once you start. And what the game doesn't tell you is that you can basically travel anywhere on the world map, but well, at least most of the areas. You have certain areas you can't access until you've unlocked. There's a hidden flying character. There's one of the things I really love about Mysteria is there's loads of hidden locations in the world map. You can find like hidden items and everything, hidden quests. There's like a hidden town with like a mystic dungeon in, and there's quite a few. So, but the basic premise is you have to go and but the basic premise is you have to get to the initial group, the initial 12 characters. Now, the one tip I would give anyone is don't go into the tower until last. There's a ghost, I think it's a ghost tower. So, the hints I would say is there's one hero you don't want to bother really leveling up for reasons you'll discover in the plot. Suffice to say, there's the tower, there's basically a ghost tower location where the game doesn't make it clear, but the only way to hurt the ghosts is with certain weapons. They have to have like elements on them, and if you go in there at the start of the game, you will get absolutely annihilated because you won't have any of those weapons. And even then, some of those weapons can be quite hard to get, so you really, if you get the weapons that can hurt the ghost, I think it's like elemental ones, or I think you needed holy weapons, so you can sometimes get weapons with holy, and don't bin them at all, keep them until you do the tower, because any weapons literally... I'm going to brave it a bit longer. But that's probably the biggest... I mean, it's been some years since I played through Mysteria. It's one of those games I really should replay myself. But I highly recommend Mysteria Realm of Lore. If you like it, I'd recommend the sequel as well. Okay, here's where we start finding out how strong I've gotten. Yeah, there are loads of locations. What I would say is, the other thing is when you're recruiting the heroes at the start, so basically once you've got the initial set of heroes and you have to look for the other... Basically you get like 7 heroes and you're told you need to create a team, a fabled team of 12. And what I will say is don't get too disheartened if you go to certain areas and find you can't progress that well or you struggle with the enemies. Basically, the game is completely open world, so you can go anywhere, but the problem is it doesn't tell you where the enemy levels are, so you can try to go to get the heroes in the really difficult areas first, which can make things very troublesome. So it's a good idea to actually look at all the areas and find which of the heroes is easiest to get. I seem to remember the female captain was quite easy to get in the Hawk Thief. I must admit, I played Time Stalkers. I really want to try and go through Time Stalkers because I've never actually finished it. I played about the first... I mean, I got... No, I don't abandon discovered item. Time Stalkers is... I played like the first... Oh, I've got a wing. Do I want to... I probably should take... My character poisoned because he's got a sort of status on him. I think he's just injured. Oh, he's 50. Okay, yeah, maybe I will I'll just fight some enemies and then... Yeah, Time Stalkers is one of those games that I need to revisit. I never finished it, so I only got... I think I never even got to the Shining Force characters in it. I got Pyra. I think I got Neil from Landstalkers, and then I kind of gave up. But I remember that I had the Lion guy because he was like one of the first. It was a bit odd. Some of the locations were very bland. I remember being a bit boring. It was one of those sort of early 3D games that I thought, yeah, like you said, it felt a bit unpolished around the edges, to put it mild. If there were bits of it that were, oh, these guys are powerful. 10 points. Okay, right. In theory, if I get him, don't miss. Don't miss. Dark Jelly dies. But I should only take... Oh, really? It's that short? Okay, I need to go back and finish that then. It's only 8 to 10 hours. I really need to go back and finish that then. Because you start forming the world. Is there much in the way of extras? Because in Mysteria Realm of Lore, there is, or Blazing Heroes as it got renamed in the US after they... I mean, they did quite a lot of copies of Mysteria and then they got sued by... well, they had a disagreement with TSR because they had a realm called Mysteria, which is spelt slightly differently. Ironically, the one in Dungeons and Dragons Shadow over Mysteria via Capcom. But TSR asked them to change the name of the game. Okay. So any minute now I'm going to go around a particular corner and it's going to tell something, the crab monster is going to crop out at me. Visually, I think it's quite good. I mean, it's better than better than some of the other games, but it is a little bit bland, and you do need a very good memory because this is until you get the map. So it's going to be round. Oh, really? The VMU minigames? Yeah, I remember it had VMU minigames. Duplicate money. Ah, so you can grind. Can you grind for gear quickly then by doing it? Pyra's most... Okay, I'll have to remember that. 'Cause, yeah, I think you got to pick your characters, didn't you, in the dungeons, which was quite an interesting concept. Nope. You abandon the item discovered. I'm going to use a herb item. I must admit, I still need to finish Record of Lodoss War on Dreamcast. I've never actually finished that. So Time Stalkers and Lodoss I've never finished. I've finished Grandia 2 and I've finished Skies of Arcadia. I got away into Time Stalkers 2. I'm just trying to think what... I'm sure it was one of the... I didn't finish Evolution either. In fact, I had probably most of them. Okay, I think I'm about to hit the boss, so this is going to be interesting. Yeah, I can't really remember that much about the equipment in Time Stalkers. I think I remember the equipment not being very good and it being quite a grindy game, I think. Although I might be wrong. It can't be that grindy if you can beat it in 8 to 10 hours. Yeah, so... Oh, I see. So Pyros basically gets the best weapon in the game. It's the only one they give you. Oh, was it random equipment in Time Stalkers? I have a horrible feeling I should probably use... So basically what I'm waiting for at the minute is when I get far enough into this dungeon. Now see the amount of enemies you're fighting at this point, and these guys are ruthless. Hiro goes up a level, hit points gained 8, IQ points gained 3, speed gained 3, attack points gained 4, defense points gained 1. Okay, so I'm level 5 now. Right. I think I'm about to hit the boss. Do I want to risk it or do I want to head backwards? Just cruise through the rest of the game. Nice. That sounds like a very good strategy. Okay, I think I need to buy some more healing items and get some... Because I know... This is, as you see, this is pretty ruthless with how often the enemies start attacking you in this. I need to be stocked up on healing items when I come in this way. So yeah. Yeah, this is good, the boss room. Yeah, I definitely need to dig out the Dreamcast. Ooh. Okay, let's use another herb. Actually, no, I should... Oh, I'm going to gamble. I should kill him. Okay, 9 points. Right, I'm not going to go in there because that's going to start the boss. And I've literally... Also, white or dark priests and white golems are the best monsters in my experience. Yeah, you could summon monsters in that. Okay, I'll have to remember that. White or dark priests and white golems. Yeah, because didn't you have... Your hero would have like an avatar monster they could summon or something. Because I know, weirdly, the character's called like Hiro or something, isn't he? The sort of time character. The sort of like... He looks a bit like a vampire, the blue-haired guy. He was a bit of an odd one. Now, first thing to do is head to the inn and heal up. Easiest way to beat boss. Okay. Oh, you can actually capture. I don't remember that much about Time Stalkers. I just remember not struggling a bit with it. I kind of didn't enjoy it that much, so I didn't invest that much time into it. I should have probably spent more time on it. Has anyone actually done a full long play on it? Because it's one of those games you don't see that much about Time Stalkers. Or... Yeah, sword, yeah, and you're right. He looks exactly, that's what I think. He looks exactly like a vampire, which I always felt like weird. It's like you're playing as a hero who looks like a vampire. Okay, so I'm going to try selling some equipment. So... I'm going to special deals to offer. Yeah, it was always weird in title because how the main hero did look like a vampire. So what would you like to sell? I'm going to sell this. You can actually sell your equipped items, which are really... You can effectively non-prog yourself in this if you're not too bright by selling stuff. Oh, yeah, actually, you've long played it recently. Nice, after a watch. I need to just remind myself what it was like, because it's been so long since I played Time Stalkers. No, nothing else I want to sell. Something else I can do for you? Yes, let's buy some gear. Right, I'm going to hopefully buy some better armour. What would you like to buy? But the question is, okay, I'll try buying a helmet. So I've got 300. I think clutch hood. I think I can wear the leather helmet. And here's the part I hope I can equip it. So the sort of hoods and... Ah, he's got a deal. Magic hood. Deal? Yes, I say yes. You don't seem to have enough cat. Yeah, so you do occasionally get deals. It's worth just nipping in. That was a trick of Shining the Holy Ark and all you Shiny Force to nip in talk to keep some of those hidden deal items. Before I do that, I need to get some herbs. I need to equip the item I've just bought as well. It was barely play tested, yeah. I can believe that because there are quite a few Dreamcast games. Well, it might not necessarily be play tested that well. It might be the testers found it and they just said ship it, which is the classic one, knowing myself in the industry, where literally the producer will just be like, yeah, ship it, it's fine. It's not a game crashing bug. If people can find it, they can use it. I'm going to buy lots of herbs. Okay, I'll definitely have a watch of that then, Naiko. So yeah, the interface is a bit odd because you can't, in Shining Force in the later games, you can select any point to equipment. And here's the part where I find out whether the item I bought I can actually use, because you do occasionally do that. Okay, so select Hiro. Now it's weird, you have to select, I think in this one you actually have to select the item and then move on. So I don't have a special, and then helmet, yes I can. Select the armor factor goes up to 25, that's what I want. Wild Arms 1. Oh, nice. It's a bit like I exploited the duplication glitch in Dark's Demon Souls on the PS3 because a couple of the items you had to was so hard to grind for. There was one item that I ended up killing. It was like it came from, I can't remember the name. There was basically a black skeleton enemy in the fourth world that had the drop rate of some low of sort of the rarest like advanced ore, and he was like one of the few enemies that dropped it. And literally I'd go into the location, go down the stairs, go to the right, he's sitting in an alcove, whack him, see what he drops, go back up, and I had to repeat that for about 200 times to get the item. So I thought, right, I've got one of these, I'm going to use the item duplication glitch because there's no way I'm spending another 4 hours killing it just to get a second one. That was just ridiculously rare. Demon Souls had some really, really grindy items they never patched in, which really aggravates me a bit, the fact they didn't patch them. Because like 4 hours for one item. It's a bit like the other one I gave up on was the there's a rare spear in Final Fantasy 12. Is it the Zodiac Spear? I think that's the one. And I flummoxed the way you're supposed to get it. So basically the item, it's basically a guidebook item, because the only way you'd actually get it is to know about it. So you had to buy the guidebook. Because you had to open 4 Pacific chests in a certain order, and then there was another room full of chests, and you had to open 1 Pacific one. And if you didn't get it, then the only way to get it was another chest inside one of the mines. However, the drop rate for it was something like 1 in 1,000, and I think I put about 12 hours in trying to get it, and then I just gave up and ended up actually replaying it because it was so rare. And because basically, if you didn't get it the way you were supposed to get it, getting a second one, I ended up finding someone gave me a code that allowed you to spawn the rarest item in the chest. Guaranteed, so that's what I just did. Spawn the chest and spawn the item and wait, hey! So yeah, if you're watching this guy, Shining the Darkness is the start of this game is very, very ruthless because you don't even have a healer at the start, so it does take us. We're already 1 hour and 10 minutes in. We're still not. Oh, have I gone the wrong way? I was supposed to go down the other way. Was yeah. These man-eater guys are also really troublesome, but now they've got the helmet and a better sword. The section's going to be relatively. Should be a bit easier, and once I've cleared these guys out and beaten the crab boss that's about to appear, I will get the additional characters. I do love the design of the characters and monsters is really good in this, but I think the dungeons are a little bit bland, which I suppose because of the hardware at the time. Well, what was it? Not necessarily the hardware. The Mega Drive could have done more impressive dungeons. It's at the time this was still a relatively early Mega Drive game, and I think this was largely Camelot's, or what was then Climax's and Sonic Co.'s limited first game, so they were a bit still getting to learn the ropes. When you look at their later games such as Landstalkers, vastly, and Shining Force 1 and 2, they're vastly more impressive. And Shining the Holy Ark hugely improves upon this. If you haven't played Shining the Holy Ark, that is a fantastic game, and it takes this format and just brilliantly. So if you've not played Shining the Holy Ark, I highly recommend it. So I don't know if you played Shining the Holy Ark, Nico, but I highly recommend it. It is probably one of the best RPGs on Sega Saturn, in my opinion. It's such a tight game, everything just fits together so well. Oh, I should ask Nico, what is actually the Wild Arms duplication gauge? Is that listed in like FAQs? Hiro stands victorious. Yes, so as you can see there, I'm dispatching the enemies relatively quickly now. So, but it takes you a good hour to get to learn the initial part of the dungeon. I think this game's about 20 hours long in total. Of course, you can be like me when I was younger and try and level up to 99. But yeah, you need that armour and you need the upgraded weapons to really start. Although I'm being honest, it was probably the first. Well, I suppose when you first start out, you really need to buy the helm and the sword, but you don't have enough money for both. Okay, this way again. Oh, thanks for that. Okay, reset the last save. Use soft reset to go back to the menu super quick. Yeah, Holy Ark is a fantastic game. If you are interested in the Shining series chronologically order, so all the games up until the Camelot era actually go in a chronological order, and unfortunately after that they break away, and basically so all the games that Camelot worked on are linked story-wise and have elements in between. They really developed it well. They planned little things. So Shining Force 1 is the first game in the series, then, which is the Mega Drive one, Shining Force Gaiden on Game Gear, Shining Force Gaiden 2, so, and then Shining Force Gaiden Final Conflict, the third one. Okay, I'll wait a sec. Looks great. turn that down. Probably should turn that down because I imagine the music's... This dungeon music's really loud and does get a bit repetitive. Yeah, no, I can still chronologically remember the Shining Force story order, so... Or the whole Shining series up to the... After, Camelot stopped work. Did you include a link? So, you must have put a banned word. But sometimes it can be a link or a banned word. Okay, yeah. Yeah, no, it's not giving... Strange. It must have auto... It must... Sometimes I've had things... I've had a few words, so... We have a swear filter on, but sometimes... I have had some things where... Some people have said they put in a thing and it's some odd word... Some really weird odd word YouTube will automatically knock out. Because sometimes it will just... It's weird. Sometimes it should bring up a message say this has got a link in it or something and ask me, and sometimes it doesn't, so it's not saying anything. Okay, no worries. I'll watch a video. But yeah, if you are interested in the Shining series, Shining Force 1 is the first game in the series, then the 3 Shining Guardians, and by extension, as the first 2 Guardians are covered in Shining Force CD. Shining Force C is probably the best way to play them, followed by... There are some extra bits in Shining Force CD as well. There's actually additional content followed by Shining Force Guardian. Then it goes Shining Force 2. So after Shining Force 2, it then goes to Shining Wisdom. And Shining Wisdom actually has a couple of the characters from Shining Force 2 in it. Max actually appears from Shining Force 1 and Shining Force Guardian, the final conflict, which was the third and final Game Gear 1. The Game Gear 1's all go in chronological order. After Shining Wisdom, however, it then goes Shining in the Darkness. Oh, it's a video showing it. Cool, thanks. Shining in the Darkness occurs... there's a weird history period where basically they imply the Vandal Kingdom takes over and rules everything. Enemies keep coming thick and fast, that's for sure. Get lots of new enemies as well. Lunges. Shining Wisdom is a great game. It's got some really funny moments. It's a weird sort of mix of stuff. I really enjoyed it. Some people give it a bad rap, but I really enjoy it. Okay, I think... There's some really nice hidden items. It took me ages to find all the... heart pieces as well, because there wasn't like a clear guide. I couldn't find a guide of everything in it. But yeah, Shining Wisdom is the precursor to this one, but Shining Wisdom doesn't have any direct links to this one, as I think this supposedly occurs in the middle of the Vandal Kingdom Shining in the Darkness, so there's basically implied that the Vandal Kingdom rules for some time. Then after that, so basically Shining the Holy Ark chronologically occurs after this chronologically. So this one, so Shining the Holy Ark. So although Shining the chronologically in the story, Shining the Darkness, then it's Shining the Holy Ark, followed by Shining Force 3. If you're going to ever play Shining Force 3, I highly recommend playing Shining the Holy Ark before it, because many of the characters from Shining Force 3 appear in Shining the Holy Ark, and it sets out the whole conflict and the reason why Julian from Shining Force 3 hates Glam, because Julian and Glam are both in Shining the Holy Ark. In fact, Glam is probably one of the most menacing game villains I've seen, and he's also one who still to this date has escaped his up-and-comers. He was a really good character. So I'm going to use one of the herbs now, because I think I'm about to hit the boss. I would quite like to replay Shining Wisdom as well. Another dead end. I think we should be near the boss now. Okay, that was the big room. Finally, I've got... Didn't realize how deep I'd got before. I was lucky I didn't fight any... Yeah, Wisdom's kind of weird. I mean, you kind of have the whole Panzer storyline in it, but I know what you mean. It's a bit weird because it links to Shining Force 2. There's a lot of links in Wisdom to Shining Force 2, in fact, and the main premise of the story is really related to what's going on in Shining Force 2. Okay, so here we go. This is the boss room. So I'm just waiting for the boss to appear. You can tell I've gained some level ups, so I'm now able to dodge the man-ape attacks. But yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed Wisdom, but I will agree, it's a bit of an odd game in a few places, so I've got to be careful now. If I go the search ahead of me, it's another sort of... it's weird, you can see there's something ahead of you. It doesn't tell you what's ahead of you, but it's something. I think that's one of the entrances to the deeper parts of the labyrinth. So I know those killer bees are doing a lot of damage, so I'm glad I bought the helmet actually, because they would be shredding my health if I hadn't. That's what I mean, we still haven't got the other characters. We've got 8 experience, so... Get sold linear... Yeah. What's interesting is Krasin from Shining Wisdom's actually from Shining Force 2. And when you fight Panzer, when you actually beat him, he mentions Oddeye, another villain from Shining Force 2. Basically, it implies that... So Krasin and Sarah actually come from Shining Force 2. And basically... Okay, here's the boss. This is definitely the boss now. I keep saying here's the boss and we keep... Imposter Princess Soul, fight away there. No, yeah. There is a lot of that in Shining. You ungoose. Yeah, I forget she got changed into the creature. It's... No, I think I've got enough health. Right, deeper into the dungeon. The boss is just around. It's got to be just around this corner. Yeah, I forget. There's some really quite quaint stuff in the story in Shining Wisdom. Okay, is this? I know I'm near the boss. I know I'm near the boss, but this is what I mean about. This is the starting part of the dungeon, and you have to do this bit solo because until I fight the crab boss, I don't get my additional characters. Yeah, there are some really crazy things with Shining Wisdom, such as basically the Daytona car they call the Toytona. It is such just a really lovely made game, but it does have its flaws. It's not a perfect game, but I always still really enjoy it. I always enjoy it because it just is such a great... There's some really nice ideas that you didn't see anyone else do, but there is, like you say, some very kiddie-orientated things, such as the fact you get like the monkey suit where you can change into a monkey and climb trees. You just wouldn't get an RPG that does that. they're much more serious. So it has some, and again, like you can race around with the toy Daytona car, which is another cool thing. So many useless magic orbs. Yeah, there's so... I mean, the weirdest one is that the last magic item... They are hilarious. Yeah, I mean, you can combine so many, but there's... The last magic item is called the Gale Orb, and it's actually located in the final boss's room. And what's weird is you can actually at any point just walk out of the final boss's fight as well. You can literally go out the door in Shining Wisdom, so you can literally chat with Panzer, dig up the Gale Orb, which is in the final boss room, and then run out and then decide, oh, I'm going to explore the rest of the world now. But that's such a weird mechanic, the fact you can do that in an RPG. Okay, so I've got 100 gold. So I have to go deeper in this. So that other way was the way to go. I think. What's my health now? So probably got. I can probably use a health thing. And probably not. 62 yet. Yeah, but I know. I mean, there's so many spells. Some of them are just rubbish, but I know it's crazy. The fact. What's weird is no one knew about that orb for years. So I used to be a member of the Shining Force. I still am a bit, but I used to be really a big Shining fan back in the late 90s, and I still love the series. And basically, no one knew about that orb initially. No one knew about it. So there's no. If you actually look, none of the guide sites originally had it. It was only later, like one person said. I think initially everyone thought it was just a hack item that you couldn't get in game. And then eventually someone said, yeah, you can dig it up at the final boss's room. It's hilarious. God knows why it was there, because it literally said right at the end of the game. It's like, why would you hide a hidden item right at the end of the game? It just doesn't make sense. Got a statue there. That's obviously for later. So I cruised through the last 4 temples. Ah, you might have been able to get it earlier. I can't remember. It's been so long since I've played it. I've only ever played it fully the once. Guiltily. And I actually had to go back fairly recently, actually, because I knew I'd missed a few hearts. And I had to try and find, because it was really hard to actually find. There wasn't a good guide site that had listed every single heart. I had to use about 3 or 4 different guides and piece together where like all the power-ups and life crystals were. And finally I actually got everything, and I was like, yes. And it was like 20 years of playthrough. It took me. It was like one of those games where I literally went back, and because I hadn't played it in years, I was literally wondering where everything was. I was like, what was here? What was there? So it's never play an RPG about a year or 2 after you haven't played it, else you will literally have to rediscover the entire game. I did that with Majorico's Mask as well, and ended up having to explore the entire game again to find like one. Okay, here we go. This is the boss. This is the boss, the Crazy Crab. Crab with a K as well. So this is actually in Shining the Holy Ark as a boss later on, which is a really nice thing. I have to beat this thing. Oh yes, what a way, opening with a critical. You actually got 2 Gale Orbs from the final boss room, or is there a second one somewhere? Fifth Crazy Crab suffers no damage. Okay. Fails to escape. Oh. Okay, so you see that thing of Valkyrie's live. Ah, I need better armor. Against the darkness. So how much gold have I lost? So as you'd see there, the Crazy Crab absolutely decimated me. Oh, I see. It's the same one, but until you pick up, you can spawn as many as you want from the dig spot. That's a nice bug to find. Okay, so I've lost half my gold, annoyingly. I didn't realise the crazy crab was going to destroy my health so much. Okay, equipment. I think I'm literally going to probably end up probably finish at this point because literally. So status. So a level 7 character, the Crazy Crab. So that's the first boss I need to beat. Has just absolutely decimated me, and this is what I mean. You have to really grind out this opening section of the game. I think your gold's in a really, it's in status, isn't it? So I have 220 gold. Can I buy better armor? Okay. Yeah, there were lots of... It was quite cool, the fact you could merge all the spells together in Shining Wisdom. So, I have a feeling I can't wear the straw robe. I suspect the fur robe is going to be the next better armor. Fur robe? Yeah, so I need to get 450 gold. So I've... Oof. See something else? No, I'm just going to have to go back into the dungeon and kill stuff. But this is what I mean about how brutally hard the start of this game is. Let's nip into... No, nothing but trouble. I need my friends because they'll make the game a lot easier. Oh. I'm going to chat to the guys in the castle. They'd be nice if they gave me some more gold. Because, as I said, the start of this game is ruthless. The Crazy Crab, as you saw there, just decimated my health. I got a... Turn here immediately. Well, I will do. But in order to find any sign of the princess, I have to beat the Crazy Crab. And as you saw there, it was very, very merciless. So you will notice the enemies that appear in each part of that as you progress through the dungeon. The enemies that appear are linked to. And I didn't buy any healing potions, did I? Yeah, I do remember you can use some of the abilities to literally jump like whole sections and things like that. It's definitely a game I think speedrunners would have a lot of fun on if they knew about. But because so few people know about Shining Wisdom, next to no one plays it. Out of interest, I'm going to ask Naiko, did you play the PAL version or the American version by Working Design? Because only the PAL version has the proper English translation, because Working Design changed all the names in the North American version because they didn't actually have the copyrights to some of them. So characters like, I think Bowie was renamed something silly like Puck, so a lot of the relationships between Shining Wisdom between Shining Wisdom and Shining Force 2 are missing in the Working Design translation. Power and 60Hz, yeah. There are one or two bugs in the 60Hz in the Power version. If you notice when you talk to the preacher, if you were to speak to him and save, and then say I wanted to carry on my game, he would then say, thank you for coming, I'll see you soon. Whereas if you said, which is a bug with the translation, they obviously got the strings mixed up in the text. And if you said, I want to finish my game, you said, okay, thanks for, it would be like, okay, well, see, like, he'll be like, come back anytime. Whereas if you said, I want, basically as if to say he was expecting you to leave and carry on playing. Whereas if you said, I want to end my adventure, he would say, basically as if to say you're carrying on playing. If you said, I did want to end my, want to end my adventure, he was like, oh, you carry on playing. And so they got a couple of the text strings muddled up. There were a few bugs with the PAL version. Item, you keep smelling salts. But it's got the much better translation overall, because it's keeps the ties to the Shining series. The working design translation had all of that stuff missing, so the working design translation is probably best avoided. So what I really need is my defense value to go up a bit, and I need to get a better defensive item. But this is proper old school RPG Shining in the Darkness. It is proper old school. So thanks for giving all the likes, guys. I'll carry on for a bit longer. I'll see if I can beat the crab. I have a feeling I'm going to need to grind out quite a lot more levels, because this is, as I said, a proper old school RPG. You do need to grind out the levels at the start. Hence why I've not actually done a video of it, because I know you effectively see there we've got an hour and 30 and we can't really progress that much until we've and I'm an old school RPG vet, so with these old school games there are a number of like foibles you just have to be aware of. You know, the dialogue was largely actually very good in Shining Wisdom. It's actually, the PAL version is a really good script. There are just a few string errors I noticed. It's actually, in fact, Shining in the... Because basically the team that translated a lot of the Shining games, I think, did most of them. So they actually had a very good... The English script for this is very good. Whereas some of the other, like, RPGs, certainly Phantasy Star on the Master System is terrible. The translation for that is appallingly bad. Oh, it's a dead end again. But I need to do things, level up and get gold to buy some better armour. Because without it... But pretty rapidly, you see, I'm already at level 7 and these enemies that... The PS2 version... yeah, we've got... so we have the first of the Sega Ages ones, but only the first one. I've not played the second one. I do need to put that on the randomised gaming pickup list, because I would like to cover all the Sega Ages games at some point. But I must admit, I haven't played it that much, and I think a lot of people said that remake wasn't that... Was it? It was alright, it wasn't great. It did improve, I think, on the issues, but none of those early Sega Ages games were that great. I know for the second game they made some quite big changes, such as the ability to save a certain character that historically died in the franchise. Which was quite a nice touch, and one I think a lot of fans appreciate. But yeah, I do need to pick up a few of the... There's a few of the Sega Ages titles I need to try and grab at some point. They've been on my hit list for some time now. Yowzers with the spawn rate. Yeah, definitely Shining in the Darkness is not a faint-hearted RPG. The best collection's actually the final one they did. I know they did the 2 remakes, but they did a final collection that actually includes the Game Gear ones as well as a real nicety. And I think that included the English versions, but certainly the English version of Phantasy Star 1 was never good. I'm just seeing how much gold these enemies are giving me. Basically, I'm going to farm around the area the Crazer Cab is, so that'll give me the most XP and gold. And hopefully, I'll get enough to buy some better. Because at the minute, as you saw, that was hitting me for 19 damage at level 7. But I do really like the visual look. Everything's quite bright and colourful, and I do really enjoy Shining in the Darkness. It is a solid game, but it is an old school RPG, so I think some people may find it a bit off-putting these days. Certainly it'd be nice if you had like a little map in the corner like they did with the recent Sega Aegis release of Phantasy Star. The translation is actually very good. This is one game that doesn't need a revised translation really, unless you want to take out a few of the changes. I think like they changed the name of the main villain from Mephisto to Dark Soul, but I suspect that was intentional to remove any sort of demon reference, because at the time there was America was, I mean these days you can do it, but you can pick Master System. Yeah, because Phantasy Star 1 got a MegaDrive release as well, didn't it? Which is really nice. Although the MegaDrive release I think was literally just the Master System version slapped in a MegaDrive case. Tracy Dragoon's actually a big fan of the Phantasy Star series since he absolutely loves Phantasy Star Online, and he's got most of the Phantasy Star collections now. So he's got the Saturn versions, he's got the PS2 stuff. I think he doesn't have the Japanese Phantasy Star 1, but basically he's got the Master System version. But he's not actually played through any of the original games. So he's got them all, but he's never actually played through them. So we've gone down the wrong side alley, but it's all good experience. The Killer Bees are probably giving me the most experience at the minute. I don't think I've gone up a level either. 7 XP. Go down this way. MegaDrive Genesis in Japanese English. Oh, finally a level up. 2 luck points, defense, attack points 4, defense points. Oh, I need 2. Right, so if I go down, that is where the crab is waiting for me, literally. Yeah, I would like to play the Mega Drive version of Phantasy Star just to see what it was like. It's just, you can't, it doesn't tell you what's ahead of you, so we've got the doors there. Each of these doors and sub things leads to additional areas of the castle. We've got that statue there. But I do love, I'm just wondering if that's actually sprite scaling, or have they literally drawn every frame to... Yeah, it is. The first collection, the early collections are largely just... In fact, there hasn't been a collection with Phantasy Star Online, despite the fact Phantasy Star Online had a fantastic offline mode, and the GameCube version even had a 4-player mode. So I'd really love to see Phantasy Star Online get a re-release, even if it's just offline. Because Phantasy Star Online is a fantastic game, and just to have a 4-player mode in it was just fantastic. Yeah, the collection, so the PS2 collection, the Sega Saturn collection is just the 4 Mega Drive games and the Master System one of Phantasy Star 1. The PS2 version contains all the Mega Drive and Master System games, but also includes the Game Gear 2, which are kind of interesting sub-games. And Phantasy Star Online has actually never been reissued, but at the minute you can play it via Phantasy Star Online Blueburst. There was Phantasy Star Universe. Yeah, you can play it on Xbox, but the downside with the Xbox version is that they only did the base version of the game. They didn't do Episode 2. No, I think it did include Episode 2, but they didn't do any of the upgrades. They only upgraded the GameCube version because the Xbox version got hacked to pieces. So they didn't include... They didn't do the additional 4th chapter, and they didn't do Phantasy Star Online Episode 3, which was the card battler, and that was only on GameCube. So Episode 4 is Phantasy Star Online Blueburst. It's weird. Phantasy Star Episode 4 is another episode for Phantasy Star Online because the 3rd episode was its own independent game, but not many people liked it. Still not bad, but Blueburst on PC is the best version. The Xbox version's quite tricky to actually play now because I think you had to register an account with it to play it offline. Unless you might be able to, I assume you can probably hack it these days, but to play it officially you need an Xbox with an official gold account, otherwise it won't let you start up. But they didn't do many of the the Xbox version got... Was it? I don't remember Card Battle being on... Was it Japanese only on PS2? I thought it was a GameCube exclusive actually, because you got Sonic and Knuckles. I would be. You might be thinking you're not thinking of Phantasy Star Universe, which was on the PS2, and you did get the Phantasy Star So the PS2 does a Phantasy Star Universe and the Phantasy Star Universe expansion. Interestingly, the expansion for Phantasy Star Universe on PS2. No worries, I can't be sure I'm entirely correct. You made me think it released on PS2, but I think it was a GameCube exclusive. But Phantasy Star Universe I definitely know is on PS2, as is Phantasy Star Universe. There's an expansion on it, which was literally only released on PS2, and literally that was also released on Xbox 360, but because the Xbox 360 servers got shut down a long time ago, the PS2 version is the only way to really play the expansion now. Yeah, Universe is quite an interesting game actually. And then there's the 3 games on Portable. You get Phantasy Star Online Portable, Phantasy Star Online Portable 2, and then there was an additional episode for Phantasy Star Portable 2, but that was only released in Japan, and we do have all of them. So at some point, Ambitions of the Illuminati, yes, that was the Universe expansion. the only way to play that now is on PS2, so that PS2 expansion's quite... And because that was a really late PS2 game expansion, it's quite rare. I've got the PAL version, actually. It's one of those ones I'm quite glad I've got now, because it's the only way to experience the ambitions of the Illuminati. I think there are a few bits you miss out because you can't play it online, but... Although you might be able to if you've got the fan... I'm sure fans have probably looked at it. So this is actually quite a big bit where I can chat to you and literally just farm up and down the enemies where I get enough experience. So how much gold have I got now? I'm quite determined to take down the crazy crab by the end of the string. Let me just check how much gold have I got. So 659 gold. Let's see. Was online only, yeah. So the only way to play the expansion now offline, because the 360 version, I don't think you can even download it. I think the expansion got pulled on the 360 version when they took it all off. So the only way to play it now is on the PS2 version. So if you don't have a copy of the PS2 version, I highly recommend tracking one down. And of course the most recentest Phantasy Star Online is Phantasy Star Online 2, which finally recently got an Xbox release. Well, we finally got an English release on Xbox One. I do actually need to... I really want to start a game on Phantasy Star Online 2 because I really did enjoy the original Phantasy Star Online. It's probably one of my all-time... favourite Dreamcast games, especially version 2. I think the version 2 really expanded upon that. Okay, do I want a bit more experience? Should I? Yeah, it's a shame you can't get the 360 one anymore. I imagine it was a bit janky on PS2. It's certainly a lot smoother. Yeah, I will use the feather to go back to town. Always have a feather in your inventory. So right, I'm going to see if I can buy a better... So I've got 600 gold. I will see if I buy some better armour. $5 gold pieces, yep, you can have the contribution of 5 gold pieces there. 94 to reach the next level. Would you like me to record your adventure? Yes. Right, I'm going to go for the crazy crab now. I think at least we should get the... Should we continue? Yes, let's go for the crab. It's actually quite handy having someone to chat to while I'm doing the leveling, because this is the boring part. Apologies to the guys, some of you guys watching, you probably think, wow, I'm just running back and forth in the dungeon, killing stuff. Yeah, this is Shining in the Darkness. To GSM. Yeah, I need to get some better forcing tech stuff on PS2, so we can actually check out 480p on more. Yep, I'd love to buy his breastplate armor, but sadly that's... Okay, here's the part where I find out if I've just wasted all my money on an item I cannot equip. Probably should have checked a guide. I think I'll get most of my money back if I sell it though. Yes, so that increase... Oh yes, that's... So how much... Oh, that's interesting. I'll definitely have to look up that GSM. Is GSM short for something, can I ask? The equipment stream's a little odd in this. You have to go through the equipment items in order. So I'm just going to enter. I'll just see if Gilius Wonderhammer's got any special. Basically, if you want to see... Got something... Fawn Whip. Yes, I'd love to equip the Fawn Whip. Deal. No. Oh. Yeah, so you see the deal items, they've got fantastic gear, but unfortunately they are a bit outside. Oh, I might be able to buy the bronze saber. Can I show you? It's longsword. I see, yeah, so there's a weird thing you have to say, can I show you something? You have to see the rest of... Built in 480 like Tomb Raider. Really nice. That's... Yeah, because I was going to say, I think some games, the PS2 definitely has a Blinier... Like you say, has some sort of Blinier filter on it. Because there are a couple of PS2 games that definitely have a slight blur and don't look as sharp. So... Good. Okay, cheers. Thank you very much. I will definitely do that because I'd like to do... when it comes to quality, I like to get the best possible pictures on the channel, so... Something else. So I'm going to... Right, I got 400 gold. I could buy the short axe. I think I can equip the short axe. That's very handy to know. Yeah, I'll definitely look into Tomb Raider, because the Tomb Raider Anniversary I really enjoyed. I mean, it wasn't perfect, but I thought it was a good update. It's one of the few Crystal Dynamic Tomb Raiders games I actually think is really worth playing. I wasn't a fan of a lot of the Crystal Dynamic stuff. I think they took the series in a direction that was completely inappropriate for the franchise. Recreation, innovation. Yeah, I still prefer the original Tomb Raider, but I think it, like you said, it did some nice updates to the franchise. Right, here we go. Let's go for this monster. Oh, what did I forget to do at the inn? I forgot to rest. Hiro flees. So basically you don't heal up, you have to go to the inn to heal, like any traditional RPG. Let's go back to the inn. Well, quite bad, yeah. I think a lot of remakes... I think for me, the Tomb Raider remake's example of is a rare example of a solid remake. I wouldn't, for me, what an example of a really good remake is the remake, or Pokemon Fire Red. I didn't think the Pokemon stuff was too bad. Resident Evil, I think, was a fantastic remake. Okay, you guys still on stream? It's suddenly telling me my viewers have gone to... there's obviously a bug in YouTube software. Suddenly, for a second there, it said all my viewers had suddenly vanished. I thought, well, that's odd. So I hope you guys are all enjoying Shining in the Dark. I should put the I think I put the Japanese game name in the description. This is going to be... I think this is one of those games. It's definitely, I think, a long play video without any chatting about it would be... Because it's definitely not a game you can speed run with ease. Certainly this opening section, once you get the other characters, you're all good. Right, so now I can finally go for the Crazy Crab. And I think I want to do that on stream, so... Yeah, I must admit, I haven't played that much of the later Pokemon, so I've got most of them, but it's a case of I don't tend to play them that much. For me, I think an example of a really good remake was the Resident Evil remake. I think that was fantastic. Oh, right, I hopefully want to get through to the Crazy Crab without fighting too many enemies. Because these fights here, when you get 3 enemies in a fight, they basically slowly tweak your health down and down, which is quite annoying. But as an old school RPG, it's definitely a nice one to have someone to chat to, I will admit, because this is properly grindy. And as you see here, literally at the minute, because I now know where I'm going, I can literally, fortunately the enemies are starting to run, you can literally just blindfoldly play some of this game at this point. But one of the things is the enemies will always do 1 damage in the Shining Force series, or in fact the whole Shining series. The Camelot games, they will never do no damage. They'll always get a rogue hit on you. Yeah, I think Resident Evil 1's remake is an example of what I describe as a perfect remake. Discard an item. No, I'd like to use an item instead, not discard one. Yeah, we just have to discard it. The Resident Evil 1 is probably what... If I have an all-time top remake, it would have to be the Resident Evil 1 remake. I really wish the remake of Resident Evil 2 had been in that standard, because I don't necessarily like the later Resident Evil games. I really don't like 7 at all. The newest one just looks like a weird... It's just, what is it? A bit... The wrong way again. Keep remembering, I thought it was but the Resident Evil 1 is an absolute timeless classic. And I think the remake of Resident Evil 1... Interestingly, technically you could argue Resident Evil 1's are 2 remakes with the director's cut as well. Oh, say Outlast was popular, right? Yeah, it's Resident Evil 7. I think you got it there. It's like they thought, well, some of these other horror games were popular, let's try it. I think Resident Evil 7 is, it reminds me of the Hillbilly. They've kind of gone they've stolen lots of it from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre film. And it just feels like they've stolen other people's ideas and tried to make a game of it. Got to remember every twist and turn. But I'm coming for that Crazer Crab this time round. I've got the gear, I've got the armour, I've got the health. The weirdest one with Director is the sound, because some of the soundtrack, the US version, the composer was actually losing his hearing. And I think that's why some of the soundtrack was so bad, because he was actually the guy who did the sound, because basically they discovered years later he started to go deaf in like the late 90s, sadly. But what happened was he carried on working for Capcom, had other people doing his work, hiring other people. It took them, it was only in like the 2000s they found out. I mean, he had to eventually leave Capcom, but basically even revealed he'd been hiring other people. And I'm right, the European version of the Director's Cut actually has the original game soundtrack in it. It's only the North American version with the wacky soundtrack. Right, nearly at the Crazer Cab. I wonder if I'll get another level up before I get to the crab. I'd quite like another level up just to give me that. I've got one depoison item as well in case. Yeah, he basically, if you actually look up the guy who did the sound for Resident Evil, he was actually going, he basically went deaf, and I think he was going, they think he was going deaf during, when he was doing Director's Cut. And basically he carried on working at Capcom for years after, and after a while started hiring other people to do his work, basically do the music work to ghost for him, because he couldn't hear, unfortunately. But it's a weird thing in Japan, certain cultures don't like to admit their ill or weakness, so they didn't admit, and that's why there was some really weird sounding Capcom games. So you guys with me? Are we going? Should I go for another level up or tackle the crab? What do you think? Nico. It shouldn't be that far off a level up either, I hope. Although I could get poisoned by the killer bees, so I've got one to poison, but I don't want to get poisoned multiple times. It's only about 17, we've got quite a lot. We must be near another level up. Yes, Hiro goes up, gains key points 3, speed points 2, luck points 2, attack points 3, defense points 1. No, the Director's Cut does have DualShock support. The Resident Evil 1. I think it's quite rare to get in Japan now, because it didn't, I don't think necessarily sold the world. It's actually a game. Yep, great mind think alike there. Yeah, just on the level up. I was quite surprised. I thought it must be near because it was about 70 and those guys were giving me 6 apiece. So, okay, so what's my status now? 61 of 89. Okay, I won't use a herb just yet. Let's go. So the crab always appears at this point. This is always the first boss. So let's go. How much? Suffers 10 points of damage. 0. 13 points of damage. Yeah, admittedly you're... So here's the part where I use up my healing items. Oh, wow, that is decimating, right? Oh, come on, come on! This is going to be a bit touch and go. Yes, Crazy Crab dies. Hiro stands victorious. And there we go, the Royal Tiara. I shouldn't really explore. Discovers nothing. In fact, I think if I check the items... Yeah, Royal Tiara. So, I'll quickly... I think, yeah, that's the end of the dungeon. So I will warp back with, because that's why I bought a wing. I'll actually show you, so basically that is the first boss. You can't recruit any other characters till I've beaten him. Thank you guys for staying with me on the stream until we've managed to defeat him, so... Stands victorious, gains, yeah, there's nothing else I can do. So items, use, and let's go back. We're going to head to the castle and we'll show them the Royal Tiara, which of course is the princess, so that tells us we know she's in the labyrinth. And there's the wizard back again. He disappeared a bit during, didn't he? His Majesty. They all stay the same. His Majesty, yeah, they're all going to stay the same. Jessa. What did I say Jessica, but it's not got ICO. Jessa. Go and form a party for your search. It would be wise to choose only those that you can trust. Turn to me after you form a party. So there we go. There's the prompt to actually form a party. Perhaps he can enlighten you. Yes, Melvin the Mage knows the labyrinth well. As you wish. For young knights, true challenges in the upper levels known as the labyrinth proper. Deemed worthy by the ancients can enter the other labyrinths. To prove his worth, a knight must face the trials of the ancients. It's said that the way... I don't know, some have recently, but none have returned. For the princess's sake, I pray that you are worthy enough. So for a 1991 RPG, the translation in this is very, very good. Probably one of the best early translations of a Sega game. It's really well done, the text in this. It puts a lot of the Square Enix stuff translations to shame from the SNES at that point. Have I played Our Evil Outbreak? The two on the PlayStation 2? Yes, I have actually briefly played them. Again, they're games we should play more. I quite enjoyed them, actually. They were quite good, I think. They were better than what... I remember playing them thinking they were actually sort of interesting, the Outbreaks. A bit like there's the Resident Evil light gun games as well. Gun Survivor's quite interesting. Okay, so first off I'm going to get Milo. Milo's actually in the church. they released on the Xbox. Yeah, they probably would have done. To record your adventure? Yes, why not? I've been looking for him. Find him at the tavern. Showing your face around here. So here's Pyra, Nico. Fine line of magic use. I do love the music of the tavern. Pyra joined you. There's some great interactions this again for an early Mega Drive sort of RPG. Go on, kid. Come on, apologize. Speak to your elders, girl. You're the one who bumped into me. You watch it. Get out of here. You have your nerve. To find this. So, Gilia, there's lots of mercenaries who you actually meet. Continue, master. Cast a level 1 to slow. Let's go find Milo. He's got shifty eyebrows. So actually, I'll speak to the guys in the tavern quickly. I'm just going to show you guys recruiting Milo before I finish. I'm actually telling you guys will be heading off as well. As always, guys, if you enjoyed the stream, please do hit the like button. Very much. It's janky. Are they? Did they allow multiple players in one console or? But it's interesting how each of the patrons, so you've got like the grumpy guy. Oh nice, your AA partners will take story items, run off alone. The opposite side of the stage and die. Ouch, ouch, yeah, that... Oh god, that reminds me of the AI in Brink, the first person shooter by Splash Damage. Where the AI was literally suicidal. Basically, you had like Team AI, and you get your team to the other side of the map, and they would. It was online only multiplayer. Ah, yeah. So you had to do it single player. That must have been infuriating. Because I think you could play them offline as well. So although they said they were online games, you could play them offline. But oh god, AI. God, that must have been so aggravating. By the way, we will actually run into that mercenary we met earlier. Oh, I need to rest at the inn, don't I, to heal up? Here we go with Milo. So yeah, you get directed to the tavern, but you don't recruit until you go to the... Pyra needs 14 more experience. And I think, yeah, Pyra and Hiro join at really low levels, so you then have to... You have to level them up. This is proper old school. Continue your adventure? Yes. My help. and wait Hiro to what Milo has to say. So that is the party. We have all our we have the whole cast, and that's actually all the 4 characters for the entire game. I'll just go to stats. I think they joined, yeah. So they both join at level 1, so straight off the bat, and they join with next to no equipment as well. But I need to actually better equip them. So I'm just going to heal up, and then I'm going to save, and then I'm going to finish, guys, because the next challenge is a very much more in-depth section. But it gives you a taster of just the start of the game, and it is quite an old-school RPG. Oh, I've got 666 gold, okay. Nothing like an unlucky number. I think weirdly you can give literally any character in the game any weapon, which is another weird thing in this one. I suppose I could in theory do a playthrough on stream or something. So you can't show spells to show you. So Milo actually has one of the heal, and yeah, Pyra starts with the maze spell, so the map spell, so you can start seeing the maze. So now once you get Milo and Pyra, the difficulty drops quite a bit, but as you can see from the opening start, when you're looking that first time round before you get Milo and Pyra, it is very tricky. And the first you see, so it's taken me 2 hours, so it's proper. Certainly a game that takes a while to get your teeth into it. Venture, yes. Step by whenever you need my help. But I think I'm going to wrap the stream up there, everyone. So thanks very much. Thanks for joining me. Thanks to my fellow commentator, Naiko. Very much appreciated chatting to you while we were doing this as well, seeing as there's been quite a lot of grinding in the start of Shining in the Darkness. It is, I think, a very impressive early Mega Drive game in 1991, so maybe not as early as some games, but it's showing you they're building up the franchise. It does have quite a lot of quirks. It is a very, very grindy game, but it's certainly worth playing if you're a fan of the series. So I'm going to thank you all for watching, guys. I'm actually going to head off now. My voice is definitely will have more targets to hit. Yeah, exactly, the enemies have more targets to hit, so it's why it actually makes it a bit easy, because you do have to level them up still, but at least you have more targets, and you can you can hit 3 times as well, because for the first start of it I've only ever been able to hit like 3 enemies, although the enemy parties I think can form up to 5 now. They do actually increase in number just to make things a bit difficult, but this is definitely the start of what is a really enjoyable dungeon game. I think it's worth playing. If you're a fan of the Shining series, I highly recommend it. But yep, good night, Naiko. Thanks for joining me on the stream again, and thanks again for that hint on KO2 on the Saturn's Hertz lift. I have actually updated our guide on the website now, and I did put a comment in. I gave you a quick shout out when we did the update, so thanks very much for that. I hope people use that list. But thank you all very much. I did actually mention it in the community page on our YouTube channel. But thanks very much for joining me, and I wish you all a good night, a good evening, a good afternoon, or a good morning wherever you are in the world. This has been Shining in the Darkness. I should say it was released in '91. It was published by Sega, and it was developed by Climax Entertainment primarily, I think with support of Sonic Co, who would later go on to become Sonic Software Planning and Camelot. But that's been it. Thank you all for watching, everyone. I wish you all a good night from here in the UK. I'm finishing now. It's just about to hit midnight. Good night, everyone. Thanks for joining me. See you all soon. In fact, I'll be back tomorrow. We'll be doing Rolling Thunder. Okay, bye, everyone.